Hello everyone, I'm the social media manager at CBA in Ware, and I'm here with the beautiful Grace in sunny Manchester to interview her for our first part of CBA Q&A with the members. So over to you, Grace. Let's tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Grace Robinson. I'm the head baker at Robinson's Artisan Family Bakery. Sixth generation in my family to be a baker, actually.
Wow.
Yes.
That is impressive. Okay. So how long have you been baking for?
Personally, me forever, like since I was born, literally. But a bit about my family history. We can trace our bakers back to 1864, which is almost 160 years ago. I already said I'm sixth generation. I learned everything from my dad. A fun fact, my granddad actually bought the business off his granddad the day my dad was born, whilst my nana was in labour, 8th of January 1954. So yeah, our business is really, really well established. I took over in roughly 2019 properly. My dad still is here and he still does all the paperwork and deliveries and things like that. But I generally run the business day to day, dealing with the customers, dealing with the teams, everything like that.
Okay, well, I'm sure that keeps you busy, and no 2 days are the same. But what is your favourite part about your daily role?
Well, we don't call it a roll down here, we call it a muffin.
I like it.
But yeah, no 2 days are ever the same because obviously everything changes daily. I come in the morning, usually about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and just start baking. So we do use prover retarders. So we'll come in and we've usually got 3 racks of bread, dough, muffins, etc., ready to bake. So my ovens have already come on during the night, ready to start baking at 4 a.m. Yeah, I do deliveries some days. I do paperwork, I do cash and carry shopping, I do the accounts, I do everything during my working day.
Impressive. Okay, so obviously COVID changed the world as we know it. What did that mean for your business and the adaptations you've had to put in place?
So obviously when lockdown happened in March 2020, we didn't know what to do. When the announcement was the world just had to stop. Technically we could stay open because we are a supplier to the local community of food, but we just, because we're family run, we have a small amount of people that work here, but we also have very little space. We couldn't see a way to work safely with the social distancing guidelines and everything, so we did actually close in the beginning for 6 weeks. We reopened for VE Day in May 2020, and we made a big celebration for our first day. We had a queue around the whole block for people waiting almost 2 hours to come in the shop. Wow. It was a really good feeling to know that we'd been missed and people wanted our bread again. But the changes that we actually made, obviously we had to enforce mask wearing because it was the law. All our team were previously wearing masks before we got shut down anyway, because it was the safest thing to do. It was a very easy thing for us to make a change. We did enforce it all the way throughout 2020 and into 21 as well. Our staff still wear masks because the space that we have to work is very small. Some people still not vaccinated, some people are vulnerable. So when everyone's under our roof, we think the safest thing to do is keep wearing face coverings and sanitizing and cleaning everything like we previously did anyway, but it's just like one more step of thoroughness. We do ask the customers to be respectful, so to each other. If somebody wants to wear a mask and somebody doesn't, accept each other's opinion now. Now the law's not there to enforce it. You've just got to be respectful. But one of the biggest changes we made is we only allowed 2 customers in the shop at once. Because of social distancing, we only have a very small shop, but what we did learn is the customers liked it better. They actually get a better shopping experience. They've got more space to move around and look at all the different products we make without feeling rushed. And so even though, technically we're on the out of this mess now, we're keeping that 2 customers at a time for the shopping experience, basically.
Okay, perfect. Sounds like you know exactly what you're doing, and it is all about keeping your customers safe and obviously your team, so you can operate your business. So that's great to hear. But let's talk about this year. What have you got planned for 2022 and beyond?
So nothing set in stone yet, but we have got a loaf which is going to be entered into Britain's Best Loaf Awards at the Farm Show in Birmingham. That's in April. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's something that I created myself that I'm really proud of, and I don't want anyone stealing my ideas just yet. And we've got the Queen's Jubilee coming up, so we're planning a few little activities maybe for the team to get involved in and get the street. We're on a small street over here in Failsworth, and we want the local community to get involved as well. So hopefully we might get some nice weather. We can do some outdoor stuff. Yeah,
and also enjoy those street parties. Okay, I mean, I'm feeling hungry just looking at those products behind me, Grace. How do you cope with that every day? And more importantly, what is your favourite thing? If you could have anything right now, what would you be eating and why?
If I could only pick one product to eat, it would be one of our scones. We bake them every morning, and when they're coming out of the oven, the smell is just so tempting. It's really hard to resist most days. We make them with all the leftover cream and custard, and we use plump Turkish sultanas and glacé cherries, so they're really nice and juicy, moist, and they're just a little bit sweeter than a regular scone, so you don't have to fill in with cream or jam or anything like that. I mean, obviously you can, but when they've just come out of the oven, I just usually grab one on the side and just start eating it as it is.
Okay, so I've got a random question for you. Do you put your jam on first, or do you put your cream on first, or does it even matter?
For me, it doesn't matter. However, I know that's quite offensive to say down in Cornwall and that. But if I was going to put cream and jam on, I would probably put the jam on first and then the cream on top.
Okay. And what is your best selling item over in the bakery?
Our best selling item is oven bottom muffins, actually. So again, this is another debate, what you call a muffin, a roll, a bath, etc. across the country, but I won't get into that. We call them muffins. An oven bottom is a muffin that you part bake on your baking tray, and then halfway through baking, you flip it onto a hot baking tray, and then you carry on baking it on the bottom of the oven. So once they bake, they've got a little ring on the top. And we make a version called an old-fashioned muffin. So that means it's the same process, but we dust them with flour first, and then we stick our fingers in them to make a dimple. And it's just a really old-fashioned item that's quite northern. Yep. And we started making them about 5-6 years ago, and people go crazy for them. We now sell about 500 to 600 a day. And a Saturday, people are at the door at 6 o'clock in the morning just for these, and we usually always sold out by 9. It doesn't matter how many we make, they've always gone by 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday.
If I come to Manchester, that's what I need to try then.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you've got quite a unique sourdough process. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So I've never had any formal baking training. I've learned everything here at Robinson's, working side by side with my dad and the team that we have here. So everything's quite experimental in the way that I've learned. I use Instagram and YouTube and everything like that a lot, and I do a lot of reading of cookbooks. So when I first heard about sourdough, maybe 2015, 16, something like that, we were working on outdoor markets a lot. Of people would say, do you make sourdough bread? And obviously at the time I didn't know what it was or where this trend was coming from. So I did a bit of research, looked into it, and we've always used what's now called a sourdough starter. We call it wheat sour. We've always used that in our bread anyway. So we learned that sourdough was just an extension of that. It's the sourdough starter, which is flour and water. You keep that for years. Then you mix that with flour and salt and water. And that's all sourdough is. But it's the time and the technique that you use that actually creates this fantastic loaf. It took us about 2 years to perfect our methods and the timing of it, because the timing is a really crucial part. Once we've made the dough, you have to rest it before you mold it, and then it goes into the little proving baskets. And then for us, it's then 48 hours in the fridge before baking. So we did a lot of experiments with obviously the recipe number one, but then the time it would have to just sit in the fridge for to get the best result. And we've worked it out now for us. That's a 48-hour process.
Oh, okay. I just don't realise how much goes into the baking of our bread. That's very insightful for me, man. Okay, so tell us something about you, Grace. What would really surprise our members about you?
Every day I find time to go to CrossFit and I love it. I started back in 2018 as a form of stress relief because running a business is really quite difficult. And then I got sucked into it. I found that I was actually pretty good at it. And in 2020, we did the CrossFit Open. And I actually finished in the top 13% of women in the world, which I'm really, really proud of.
Congratulations. Well done. Oh, that is interesting. I mean, how do you find the time? But yeah, crazy. I mean, them products behind you, is there anything there that you'd like to talk us through?
So I've already told you about the sourdough, which is there.
Yeah.
We're currently started to do our hot cross buns because Easter is coming. I mean, even though it's still quite a few months away, but people get excited about things, don't they? So our hot cross buns we're making only at the weekends for now, but obviously when Easter comes closer, we'll be making them every day. We make a big fruit mix of all the dried fruits. So we put a bun spice oil in that so that the fruit soaks up some spice, and we use mixed spice and ginger in the dough.
Okay, that's really good. Okay, is there anything else you'd like to add? No, that's fine. Thank you so much for your time, Grace. I really appreciate you giving us an insight into your life and what that means for you and Team Robertson at the bakery. If anyone else wants a brave interview with me, then feel free to send us an email, Donna@Craft Bakers Association, and we will get that set up. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed our first Meet the Member interview.